transfer anybody get from the front?
All right, that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Welcome to the SHAC committee meeting. We are scheduled to have a 5:30 start, running just a few minutes behind this. And welcome to all of you that are joining us remotely. Thank all of you for coming. This is a very important meeting. We're going to go over the purpose of the SHAC committee and what guidance we can provide to help make sure that the health curriculum and the rest of the coordinated school health program can optimally help our students. So again, welcome and thank you all of you for coming today. Really appreciate it. So according to Senate Bill 1, this is required. We are required to have a health advisory council, which SHAC stands for School Health Advisory Council. Where the majority of members must be parents who are not employees of the school district. We are also required to include recommending policies, procedures, curriculum, and strategies for health education appropriate for specific grade levels. So this is an advisory council, and we make revisions that are taken to the board. We have a meeting at the end of the year where we present the recommendations of the SHAC committee. So this is kind of just a snapshot of the different things that the SHAC committee does. If you see, we are a group of individuals which is required to be predominantly parents of students that are not parents of students in the district who are not employees. And we provide advice to the district on coordinated school health programming. We're going to talk about what coordinated school health programming are later. A little bit later. Again, I'm starting off just with an overview, but the goal is for you to be involved. The goal is not for this to be just me dictating. The goal is for all of us to work together to provide input for making the coordinated school health program the best it can possibly be for the kids. So here's a little bit about what the coordinated school health program is. I'll read a little bit of it. Advancing student performance by promoting, practicing, and coordinating school health education and services for the benefit and well-being of students in establishing healthy behaviors designed to last a lifetime. So we want our students to be healthy. You want your children to be healthy. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants their child to not only come to school and not only to receive an academic education, not only to be involved in extracurricular programs, but we want the whole child. And part of the whole child is also the child's health. That's a major part of what we want to promote when kids come to school, so that they have healthy procedures while they're in school, and they continue practicing healthy procedures once they graduate from school. We all know that children pick up habits in the home, children pick up habits in the school. And some of those habits are very hard to shake, for good or for bad. If we promote healthy habits, hopefully those will last. If there are unhealthy habits, unfortunately, sometimes those are hard to let go of. So here are the 10 components of the coordinated school health program. And we're going to have another slide that shows them a little bit better, but you see the 10 components in there. But each program is you see the goals there: to prevent obesity, cardiovascular disease, and type 2 diabetes in elementary, middle, and junior high school students. And then you see the different components that must be a part of it: health education, including oral, physical activity, nutrition, parent involvement. And that's where you come in. So here are the 10 components of the coordinated school health program. Physical education and physical activity, that's pretty self-explanatory, what you think of when you think of exercise. And we're going to talk about the fitness gram a little bit later and look at the results from last year and talk about what we can do to increase student participation and performance this year. Nutrition, Ms. Butler is is really the head of our health services, our food services program. And she has a wealth of information on nutrition and how our current breakfast, lunches, and dinners are in compliance with help me a little bit here, Michelle.
USDA and TBA standards.
USDA and TBA standards. Thank you. Health education, we are required to have a school health program in grades 3 through 8 in high school. Social and emotional climate, our counselors are a big part of that, but also we want the environment at the school to be such that kids feel welcomed and that they feel like they are part of a larger group and that they are supported in a larger group as well. Physical environment, the roof over their head, the air conditioning, the cleanliness of the facilities, that all goes into physical environment. Health services, every school has a nurse that provides health services to both students and to staff. Counseling, psychological, and social services. So we do have counseling here, but we also partner with some social services in the area, and we will try to bring those into some of the other meetings that we have this year. Employee wellness. We've all heard the saying that in order to help others, you need to take care of yourself first. And by helping employee health, we are hopefully helping them to be at their best to help students. Community involvement and family engagement. SHAC definitely feeds into both of those there. So those are the 10 components of a coordinated school health program. So these were the district goals last year, and we're going to talk about today. I'm going to get input from you on what we want our district goals to be for this year. You want your goals to be something that is concrete and something that is attainable, and something that can be done during this year. So last year, that first goal, let's see, I don't have a, do you have a pointer? No, I don't have a pointer. That first goal on the left, increased percentage of students able to achieve the healthy fitness zone for all 6 required test times. We're going to take a look at that data before you leave today. So that was one of the goals last year. So this basically is physical fitness. Students are tested in physical fitness. We'll talk about a little bit about it, who's required to test for physical fitness starting in grade 3. We'll talk about that. Develop and implement goals and objectives for physical education activity programs. After reviewing data collected, we're going to take a look at some of that data today. Incorporate the coordinated school health program as part of the campus improvement plans. We talked a little bit about what the coordinated school health program was, and we're going to take a look at that a little bit more today. Strengthen and utilize SHACs to support the implementation of all school health policies and practices. So we want at least the goal that they had last year was whatever is done in SHAC, we take that feedback and it actually is used for something. It does not just stay in the meeting and not get used in the schools or get taken to the board for I guess advice so that we can use that to get parent and community support. So the National Health Education Standards, these are written expectations for what students should know and be able to do in grades 2, 5, 8, and 12 to promote personal, family, and community health. So I won't read through these, but here are the standards that the National Health Education Standards that are used when we're talking about the curriculum and what students should know in different grade levels. So we're almost done with this overview, but we're going to talk a little bit now about what SHAC is required to do and then what is optional for SHAC to do. So tonight we're going to elect a chair, and that chair needs to be a non-school employee that is a parent of a student in the district. So they are the ones that are going to serve as the chair and or co-chair. And again, we will elect officers tonight, including the chair, the co-chair, and hopefully the secretary as well.
Is this a legal name to begin with? As far as got confirmed, and also same question, pertaining to the DOI.
Okay, so is this a legal meeting as far as the requirement for SHAC? Is that what you're asking?
Right, but you also have the DOI, so that I know.
Yeah, so okay, I can address that now. So normally you're required to have 4 meetings a year for SHAC. So we applied for a waiver through the District of Innovation, and District of Innovation is basically, it can be for many things, but one of the things that we applied for was SHAC. The number of meetings that are being required for SHAC. So we are not, the waiver was accepted. We are not held to the standard. It's required to have 4 meetings per year. So does that answer your question?
How many legal meetings are you supposed to have in the meeting? This is not a legal meeting under KISD Title II.
And tell me.
Okay, it was posted in a legal time frame. And that is located in E1, everyone in.
That's something that I can look at and address, but with them, we are required to have one.
So this one doesn't have to turn out.
We do have 2 other scheduled meetings. You're saying that it wasn't posted online in a timely manner?
So we can get this all, on the PDS on the local school health advisory council shall meet at least 4 times each year. For each meeting, the council shall: 1, at least 72 hours before the meeting, A, post a notice of a date, hour, and place, and subject of the meeting on a bulletin board in the central administration office of each campus in the school district. That have not been done. Ensure that the notice required of hereby made is posted on the district internet website and can have on prepare and maintain minutes, and it goes, you know, the audio recording no later than the today. I believe last year you guys only had one legal meeting, and that's question. So I just want to make sure that if people are participating, that they're not wasting time.
We will ensure that it is posted at every campus for the other meetings, to make sure that we are in compliance. Thank you. Second bullet, district trustees must appoint at least 5 members to serve on the committee. So, SHAC committee has to have at least 5 members, of which the majority are expected to be parents that are not employees of the district. So, we're going to take a look at that tonight, and I think we have. So according to that requirement, we would need at least 3 parents who are not employees of the district. So we should have that tonight. SHACs must post at least 72 hours beforehand. They must also maintain minutes, make audio and video recording, which we are doing, and submit it to district no later than 10 days afterward. SHACs must deliver an annual report to the Board of Trustees. We will do that in May this year, after we have had our 3 meetings, 2 more meetings after this, and gotten your feedback for the board report. SHACs must recommend policies, procedures, curricular strategies for the health education appropriate for specific grade levels. We last adopted the curriculum in 2021, 2022. This is not an adoption year, so we are not required to adopt a new health curriculum this year. When making instruction recommendations regarding any of those human sexuality, child abuse, family violence, dating violence, and sex trafficking, the SHAC must hold at least 2 public meetings and submit the recommendations at a public meeting to the board. Again, that one, the number of meetings, we would only be required to have 1 public. Okay, these are the mays, the things that you may do but are not required to. Provide recommendations to the health education curriculum. Recommend appropriate grade levels and methods of instructions for human sexuality. Again, you see the adoption was lasted those 2 years. So again, this year we're not required to do any of those things. We may ensure that full day pre-K students participate in 30 minutes of daily vigorous activity. We may include the goals and objectives of the coordinated school health program in high school and middle school improvement plans. We talked about those 10 components earlier. Again, this is something that is not a requirement, but we may do it. And establish fitness planning subcommittee to consider issues relating to student physical activity and fitness and make policy recommendations to increase physical activity and fitness. We are going to take a look at the fitness grant results that we have from last year.
Are these made adopted last year?
What do you mean?
Were they, I mean, you don't have to adopt these, so just say, were they actually adopted last year?
Well, definitely not the first 2, because the first 2 we did wasn't an adoption year for that. Full day pre-K, 30 minutes of daily vigorous activity.
So they were not adopted last year. So we are going over these main adopts and what has already been voted on for curriculum. You guys know whether it's you guys updates and whether that.
Are you talking? Are you talking about the first 2?
And curriculum.
So what is your question?
The board voted on the curriculum about 2 years ago.
Okay.
They, I guess, they bought all the instructions and got the curriculum. Has that been implemented in the class?
That is something that I would need curriculum here, probably curriculum and instruction to make sure that it was implemented in every classroom. I can't answer that question.
You go to future meetings, it'd be nice to know, is this working? So when someone say we have this curriculum or we're using the same one, how is it been working? Are there any updates on whether the curriculum is streaming any of this stuff? Instead of just adopting and then letting it sit for 2-3 years, 3 years or other years, the committee has an idea of whether this curriculum should be adoptable or is working at all.
Thank you for your input. Okay, so here are the other dates that were scheduled for this year. February the 8th, same time. May the 9th, same time. I wanted to get a little bit of feedback from you on location. Is this location convenient for everyone here? We can also meet at another campus. We can also meet at central office. Any thoughts? Is this fine right here? It is a nice big area. It has a nice presentation screen right here. So if this is amenable to all of y'all, then we will continue to have it here the next few times. So that's all I have for the overview. So let's talk a little bit about the next thing on the agenda, which is the community member selection. So the biggest requirement is that we have at least 3 parents that do not have students in the district. So you have a student, I'm sorry, 3 parents that have a student in the district that are not employees of the district. Could I ask by a show of hands for how many of you are a parent in the district, but you're not an employee in the district? You're not employed by the district. Just you are your school counselor. Okay, so we only have 2 right now. So right now we do not have enough to meet the full requirement to have at least 5 members that we have to eventually take to the board and have at least half of them, which would need to be at least 3 that would not be employed. So before I take it to the board, we do need to get at least 1 more member that is a parent that would like to be on the committee and that's not an employee of the district. So that's something that we won't be able to take to the board yet. And I assume everybody else that's here probably wants to be a member on the committee as well. But again, we are required to have, and so it's not required that everybody that attends these meetings be actually a committee member. You're welcome to attend, and sometimes we will have bringing guest speakers that will present. Sometimes we will also have members that are not able to, they want to come to one meeting to talk about one particular topic. But so right now, if I can see a show of hands, who is interested in being on the committee?
But they have to be for this. They need to be a teacher, nurse, counselor, you can't be a chair person. Right. Or maybe put it, and then one would be the chair.
Right, we will definitely have the chair and the co-chair probably be parents that of members that are not employees. So right now, as far as committee members, Michelle, are you willing to be on the committee?
Sure.
And Samantha? Yes. And right now, what we're probably going to do is just make sure that we at least have you guys as parents on the committee for sure. And we need at least 1 more. Be frank.
In 3 years, there's not been 1 meeting where I had a parent who are not business students to be able to make a vote for an officer. The school board has not voted on the committee since probably 2019. So I just word of advice, you're not going to get the hands here. I like to do better than most of them. Dude, winning a prize, I have no idea, but
So let's,
it's gonna be interesting here.
so we need at least 3.
Good luck.
We have 2.
I'm reaching out to her and
Okay,
see if she.
okay. And again, I sent a robocall to all parents. I reached out to campuses to try to encourage and highly encourage them to elicit more parent support. I guess it is difficult. I hear what you're saying.
Use that from last year?
I tweaked it. From
No,
last year.
did you actually find everybody who signed up last year and called them to come out? There's gotta be somewhere in the admin office or something.
But you're saying though that we didn't have enough parents in past meetings.
Oh, wow,
Okay, so we didn't have at least 3.
probably never, no.
Okay.
Maybe one time. But if you use this, there's one last year, exactly almost the same, we're inviting people to come. I'm pretty sure they're already filled out sitting somewhere, is there any way you can contact those people?
I can do that. I again, we posted on Facebook, we posted on the website, we did a robocall, we've tried, it just seems like it's very difficult to get parents here. Free steak dinner,
Buy all the good stuff, it's hard to get,
still even when you get food is difficult.
and it doesn't matter what time you do that. Don't we go to the Braves or like chili, there's like that. I know, yeah.
It's a thought, you don't have all the fancy presentation here, and it's not as,
Right.
there's a little more distractions there, but
Can't hear if something.
well, we've got two more shots at it, and I think that, again, if we have a commitment of at least one more parent, the goal is, like, for instance, if we only get 3 parents, then we're only gonna have a committee of 5, because to be in compliance, we want at least a majority of parents. If we have 4 parents, we'll probably have a committee of 7, so we can at least have a majority of parents on the committee. But what I would like to do now is at least have us elect a chair and a co-chair based on yes, oh, in the library, okay. So that at least we have a co-chair and a co-chair, because optimally, I don't want to lead, I want to be a facilitator, that's the goal. But obviously, we've had a hard time getting parents in the past, but are either of you interested in being the chair?
Do the chairs and co-chair, do any of the parents, when they are elected, you know, go home and go on their lives, do they even have to show the media at some future meeting?
I would want the chair and co-chair to be at the other 2 meetings this year.
Can you hold a meeting without them?
That's a good question. That's something that I will make a nomination, since does anybody else want to make a nomination for somebody to be the chair out of Punky or Nettie or Nina?
Are we gonna fight for this? I know, I don't know what it is that we do.
So really,
What is a chair to, and what is?
okay, so the chair will be the one that works closely with me to make sure we prepare the agenda. And that we get all the resources that are needed to make sure we facilitate this meeting. And then the chair will kind of do what I'm doing right now. They will facilitate the meeting. You might not necessarily be speaking on every topic, like for instance, the fitness fair. I can speak on it today, but you will work with me to get a speaker for every agenda item, who is going to do every agenda item. When you will facilitate when we want to vote on something, you will facilitate that as well. The co-chair will be the one that steps in case the chair is not here.
I'll be a co-chair.
Yeah, go ahead, next.
Now, facilitator doesn't mean you're up there talking the whole time like Peter's doing.
No, not at all.
But you're the one who's gonna run the meetings then.
The chair will run the meetings, but all they're gonna do is they will, like, we're gonna have the
Meetings.
agenda items, the chair will work with me for. What agenda items we're gonna have, and who is going to talk for each agenda item, it doesn't have to be the chair.
You're not gonna be doing a lot of.
It could be that you are introducing Peter Pitts to talk about this next item. You are introducing Michelle Butler who is gonna talk about this next item, and
And like coaches and stuff.
but I would also.
All you're doing is.
To be honest, I also would like the chair and the co-chair to really help and to try to get other parents here.
I already have that.
Well, then, but that's all right, we're close, I mean, we have 2 parents, we're only required to have 3. That is the bare minimum requirement, would we like more than 3? Absolutely, but we're only required 3. Does anyone want to volunteer to be the chair?
Sure, exactly know how it's separate.
You don't have to, you mainly just have to, well, no, I will work with you to find people, we will find people together, and kind of as a group as well too. We have Michelle, who has a lot of contacts with child nutrition, we have Lou Wilson, who wasn't able to be here tonight, who has contacts for other health areas. So really, it's a lot of it's a formality. Then in that case, do we have any nominations for a chair? Yes.
I don't have any nominations for a chair. So sorry for raising my hand, but I just wanted to know, like, could someone volunteer to assist the chair? I can volunteer to help with planning. I can help with
Absolutely.
recruitment. I am willing to be a public speaker. I can introduce you at the meetings as the chair and help you with whatever you may need, whoever is voted elected as the chair.
That's great, that sounds.
I'd be willing to do the same thing, I mean, like.
I talk for you and just introduce you as the chair, give you credit for all the planning.
Well, do we have a nomination then? Does someone want to? Yes, ma'am.
Nominate.
For what?
For chair.
Okay. I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, so, as we don't have a secretary right now, I will be recording this, so. Unanimous of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-0. And first and last name?
ORLIN.
Trevino.
Okay. I nominate Christina Guajardo to be the co-chair.
I said, don't worry, we're here to assist. You don't have to. Okay, we're here to assist. We'll help you with the recruiting parents. I mean, that's part of my job. Or the topics, anything, we're here to help.
You too, or Lena, will help you with whatever you need.
Or sure, we'll give you our phone number, that way if you have any questions, sorry. You can call us at any time.
Well, we thank you all very much. Did we already vote? Okay, so we will wait for the rest of the committee, because you can have 2 that are not parents, but we're gonna wait till next time to try to get that 3rd parent. And then we can see how many other committee members we will have based on how many parents we have, but we're really gonna try to do a big push for more parents next time. Hopefully we can do it. I know we can do it. I'm positive we can do it. Okay, so let's talk about our goals for this next year. Let's go back to the coordinated school health, 10 components. And so here are some of the ideas that I'm gonna just throw out, and then we can brainstorm together on ideas for goals this year. We cannot do everything in one year. We're not gonna try to focus on all of those this year. My thought is we get 2 to 3 concrete, discrete goals that we know we can attain this year. That doesn't mean we can't talk about a whole bunch of other things at these meetings. But I want 2 to 3 goals that we see a need for improvement, and we know that we can make progress on this year. Physical health, we're gonna take a look at that now. Maybe we should take a look at that actually before we talk about our goals, because that might be one of the goals that we do. So I might do a quick agenda change here. Nutrition. Again, health education, that's the curriculum, and we can get someone from the curricular side to speak at next meeting. Social, emotional, physical environment, the facilities, the school health program, our counselors, employee wellness, community involvement, and family engagement. So, what if you had to pick some of these areas? Which areas do you think it would be most important to create a district goal for this year? These are the goals again from last year.
That's already in place.
Samantha?
Can you go back to the previous slide? I think something we should focus on aside from physical education, because 2 of the goals from last year were physical related. I think we should focus on social and emotional climate and counseling, psychological and social services, because just as a parent of a student in the students in the district, I feel like bullying and social image is still such a huge issue and needs to be addressed more.
Okay.
Cyberbullying as well.
I agree completely. And Samantha, let me ask, I see you're already taking wonderful notes right now. I'm not nominating you as a secretary or anything, but if you could help me out so that we can double check on our notes as well. But I hear you on social emotional. I think that that's a really important component. Any of these other components that are up there that you think that we might want to focus on for one of our goals for this year?
When it says health services, are you referring, does it refer to services and the community that help our students and our staff? Or?
Well, health services, I consider that more under community involvement. But the health services, I'm talking about what we provide as a district to our students and staff, basically through our health services or our nurses that we have here.
Do we do diabetic checks on every child in the district, or just certain grades and ages?
I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out.
The nurses do.
Go ahead.
But it's, the nurses do annual screenings for diabetes, but I believe they only follow the rates as set forth in the state mandate. It's related to some a particular piece of legislation. But yeah, at the high school, I don't think they do, but I think they do it still. I know they do it in elementary, and I think
So maybe you can network with a doctor who will cover actually everyone thanks to it. Because that diabetes is a major issue.
It's a good idea.
So I don't know if that, no. Come over, like, you know, anybody who wants to get checked out, signs and symptoms of, and then have your girls to his office or someone else needs to get checked.
like a diabetes screening and education.
Yeah, because I know you gotta get blood work and all that stuff for diabetes, but you can do pre-screening, like, those are diabetes might get, those right around their neck or mold, there's signs that, the skin provides. A doctor to say this child should probably get tested. So maybe you can just give a look and say, this kid probably should be referred to get tested for diabetes. Pretty much, that's pretty much how they look at the kids anyway. So yeah, even the kids at grade level tested, it'd be that preferred a whole everybody.
Did you have something?
Yes, I was wondering, I don't know if we currently do this, but if we could do flu shots for the students. I know that I was looking at another district, it was actually Houston ISD that was offering flu shots to their students.
Okay, that's something we can look into as well. So let me recommend that before we finalize our goals, we take a look at would you mind dusting these out, please? And let me pull it up here. Let's take a look at the fitness gram, and then we'll finalize our goals for this year, and then we'll take a look at topics for upcoming meetings, and then that's it for today. So here's a little bit about the okay, here's a little bit about the fitness gram. There's a statute in law in grades 3 through 12 that are enrolled in physical education or a substitute physical education course, for instance, like athletics or ROTC, or I think band is considered a substitute as well. So those are the ones that are required, so not below 3rd grade and not all of high school, because in high school you have to take a few semesters of physical education or a substitute, and then after that you don't have to take it anymore. So those students don't have to take the fitness gram, and you see that reflected on the results here, like only 195 students took it from high school. So you see that reflected in the data. Let me do one more slide on the fitness gram, and then I'm going to put the data up here and we'll talk about it. So it gives a baseline for healthy fitness. And these are supposedly things that are for lifelong physical activity. So the tests are not sport specific. They're not gonna test you on how well you can catch a football, but they may test you on how fast you can run a mile, or how many push-ups you can do, or what your flexibility is, or a trunk stretch, or things like that. So these are basic physical tests that really help show where you are for lifelong physical activity. It measures, there you go, aerobic capacity like running, muscular strength, push-ups and so on, flexibility and body composition. There is a BMI, a body mass index as well. Provides recommended activity program options will help students reach healthy fitness zones. We're going to talk about the healthy fitness zones in just a minute. We are talking about how it doesn't have sports related skill, and increase the number of children in the healthy fitness goal as addressed. That was a goal last year. So let me put up what I just gave you, the results that we had last year. So here's where we stood. So there are 6 different types of healthy fitness zones, whether it be aerobic or flexibility or muscular strength. There's 6 of them. And if you look up here, I guess I'm going to point because I don't have a clicker that has a laser. So in elementary school, there were 8 students that were not in any of the healthy fitness zones. 0 in high school, 0 middle school, 0 in high school. Which means that every student in middle and high school met at least one of the 6 criteria. And then you see the same thing, let's look at elementary, out of 604 students tested, 8 of them did not reach the healthy fitness zone in any of them. 57 reached the healthy fitness zone in only 1 of them. 103 in 2 of them, 151 met half of them, 132, 4 of them, 102, 5, and only 51 out of the 604 met the healthy fitness zone in all 6 areas. So, again, I think that when you look at percentage wise, we definitely want to increase the number of students that are in 4, 5, and 6. We'll just stop there for now. If you look at middle school, again, you see low numbers there, which is to be expected. Remember, only 321 tested. There were 90 that met all of the zones. Now look at high school. High school 12, that's where it starts to decrease. Again, only 12 out of 195 met all of the components.
What do you think these tests, because that is like really low for high school.
Really low for 12 out of 195?
They're not even tested only.
Well, part of the reason why this high school number is so low is not everyone's required to take the test. Only the ones that are either in the in PE or in like band or ROTC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, a majority, the only ones that really don't have athletics or PE or having to be in are high school, I mean, seniors or juniors.
Right, so what you're saying is that, let's say that there's 930 students currently in the high school, you're saying that at least half of them, that would be 465, or 465. So you're wondering why that number is so low for the high school, and that's something I can investigate.
Are you guys doing the JRTC? That's counted as PE with curriculum, so if you guys are just grabbing guys who have, or girls, kids that do PE in high school, there's the JRTC component of that.
Right, and I'm not sure if that's something I can look into, like, let's say they're required to have 2 or 3 semesters of PE in school. I don't know if after, is it 2? Okay, it's 2, thank you. So let's say after they've been in JROTC for 2 semesters, maybe they don't have to take it anymore after that, the fitness cram, that's my thought. So maybe really it is only a quarter of the students that are required to take it, but I will get some clarification on that.
Are they just doing the PE kids, or are they completely missing the JRTC?
Okay.
That's how.
Or that.
Let me do a check on
Yeah.
that. And I'll bring some answers next time.
So I asked, what do you think?
I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to learn as quickly as I can.
Oh, no, check the plan.
Okay, okay, so, and then, so you look at the total, this is how many students were tested. And you see that out of the total, we had only 153 reach in all area. Now, we have some big numbers here that reach 3, 4, and 5, but obviously we want to increase the students that, like, you may have a student that is really strong, but they may not be flexible. So those things don't always translate. Sometimes the stronger you are, sometimes you're not as flexible because you have all this muscle, and if you're very strong, maybe you can't run a mile as fast as well too. So some of them, it is very hard to be healthy in all zones. And if we look at all adults, maybe all of us in this room and all other adults, maybe we're healthy in some areas, but we're not healthy in other areas. But what we want to do is we want to help every child to be their healthiest self. That's what we want to do. So I think that increasing in some of these areas, even if they increase from being healthy in 2 zones to, let's say, 4 zones next year, that is an improvement for that child. BMI is really important. Body mass index, it has been linked with many different health related issues. So basically that compares how much fat you have in the body based on there's different ratios for how tall you are, how much you should weigh. But so if you look at it, out of, let's just all together, let's look at the total. So out of 1,124, about half of them are in the healthy zone as far as their body mass index. 111 of them have some risk. In other words, they are borderline with their BMI. But look at this number right here. This is huge for our district. And this is something that if I mean, this is a recommendation from me. If we can have this number decrease, we are setting our students up to not only be healthier in school, but hopefully also to develop healthy habits that will last a lifetime, so they can be healthy adults as well. It's very hard. I was a teacher for 20 years, and then I was a principal, and it's very hard. I've been at every level. I've been at elementary, I've been at middle, and at high school. Elementary, the kids come to you and they love you and they do whatever you say and everything, like they want to please you and everything. And it's so easy to take those eager minds and point them down the right way and get them to have healthy habits. But then once you get to middle school, it's harder. Not impossible in middle school, but in high school, it gets really hard to change their mindset. When they get in a mindset that, hey, this is how it's supposed to be, this is what I'm used to doing, I don't want to change. And as adults definitely don't want to change. Unless they have like a major life crisis or something like that, then they want to change. But the goal is to get our students to be healthy now so that they can be healthy for the rest of their lives. So looking at that data, what I want to do now is I want to get input from you guys on maybe what we can do to define 2 to 3 goals. We've talked about, these are the areas we've talked about. We talked about physical fitness a little bit here. We've talked about the social, emotional. We've talked about diabetes. We've talked about also I thought there was one more we talked about. Flu vaccines. I think flu vaccines, that's not something we can promise, so we can look into it, but I wouldn't recommend it be one of our 2 or 3 goals. Because I think that there's plenty of issues around it. Vaccinations are a hot topic sometimes. And especially with students, I wouldn't want to touch that until we get all the facts and look at all of the barriers to that, both financial to procuring the flu vaccines and the liability of actually giving them in a school setting. So
We could start with the teachers. Staff.
with the staff,
Yeah, we can start with staff.
we do offer flu vaccines for staff. That has been done. That we do. Okay, well, do I have I'm gonna make a recommendation right now that definitely physical fitness should be some component, and maybe that body mass index should be part of it.
So you were thinking about goals, is that right?
Thinking about goals and goals for this year.
You're the money guy, let me ask you a money question. How much money is this SHAC committee for this year or for the following? We're setting on goals for next year, right?
We're setting goals for this year.
This year.
This year, yes.
Okay, for this year.
For this year, and
So how much money do we have for this year for things like goals?
that is not set in stone yet. That depends on what we set for. Obviously, we don't have $1 million, but if we have something that's worthwhile and going to help students, and we believe we can move some money around to accomplish that, we will try our best to do it.
Idea. There are free fitness labs all over the place.
Okay.
Why don't you have an internal campus that are a campus boothing where you guys will run off with each other and see who does something on a fitness app in comparison to the other, like you guys can be seniors against juniors and sophomores against freshmen, and whoever wins gets free tickets to the
baseball game over there in Corpus. I mean, you can even procure those tickets for free. Same with, you can have a competition between all the campuses at the elementary school level. Same with middle school, that might get kids involved in trying to win something. And it show the community that it's working or not.
Discussion or on the topic that Ms. Roberts brought here?
I think that's a great idea.
I also feel like the middle school needs more activities. As in like sports wise and stuff like that. They only have football, basketball, track.
There's my guy right there, go out.
I feel like we need more, you know.
Now that I can say that is not in the budget, this year. I definitely can say that. Not only that, you have to, if you're gonna be part of UIL, you have to apply ahead of time. I'm not sure how many years ahead of time it is. I'll try to, Ruben Garcia wasn't able to make it tonight, but he should be here at the next meeting. And we can get some input on him. That does not mean that you can't have some type of intramural
I
activities.
was gonna say you can have intermodals.
Right, there's really nothing. I have an ADHD kid that goes to middle school and he needs to be busy.
I mean, no one I think is gonna argue against, being more active. If we can get our kids to be more active, they're gonna be healthier. BMIs will go down too. So maybe the goal is not to decrease BMI. The goal is to put in procedures and practices in the school that will get the kids to be more active, that will help decrease the BMI, and also hopefully get them to be more in the health and fitness. The elementary still do have recess.
Maybe healthier for our high school kids.
Samantha?
I think one thing that I've seen this year and something that we could probably try to promote more, make a goal is on Blue Fridays, making more sport related activities, because I know they do have some already at Gillette.
And I know we already have some, but I mean, we can almost make that. See, on Fridays we have much more leeway and much more freedom. They're not required to have a certain number of minutes for biology on Friday because they already have their required minutes from Monday through Thursday. So we can definitely make recommendations for that to have more physical activity on those days, and kids might want to come more on those days if they, I mean, I think that most kids, at least younger, love physical activity, and I don't know about older. Sometimes as kids get older, sometimes they don't want to exercise, they don't want to be active at all. They even don't want to walk around the track if they have to. I guess that's kind of boring. I would rather walk in nature anyway.
But something we can do is think outside the box and do more innovative sports. Like I know a lot of people like racquetball. Cornhole is a game that kids love playing. We would just, yeah.
Okay, let me, I hear all your great ideas, so let me try to take these ideas and try to put them into a statement, and then you guys can tear it apart and make it better. Okay, so what I hear you saying is more physical activities included in the school day and also on the Fridays as well, and not only that, more choices for different physical and fun activities. So that's what I'm hearing. Is am I anything else that we need to add into that? Okay, so KISD will increase the time and diversity of active of student active activities during the school day and on half-day Fridays. Okay, I know that can be made a lot better because I'm just making something off the top of my head, and I don't like how it sounds when it says KISD will increase the time and diversity of student active activities. I don't like that. That sounds really weird right there. During the school day and on half-day Fridays. So what could we say instead of student active activities? Student physical activities? I like leaving it open-ended where we just say physical activities, because then it could be cornhole, or it could be laser tag. I don't know. I don't think we have the money for laser tag, but it could be anything. Will increase the time and diversity of the diversity and time allotted
For the breaks between class at 1 minute, that way they go to the next class, you know,
we have 1 minute passing periods, you better run. That's a thought. Okay, so how about this? How about I take that one and I work on tweaking it a little bit and bringing it to next meeting. And then you guys can let me know what you think. Okay, so that's one. We also talked about one for was it social emotional health? Okay, so what exactly are we looking for when we talk about that, and what can we put as a measurable goal for that?
The first thing that comes to mind is on the campuses, you have your counselors, you have your CIS, and the counselors are usually participating in some kind of guidance program. And I think it's all gonna be very easy for you to measure, because we report our minutes to, you know, of our day, you know, what we do to our LSM. And so getting in alignment with the census counseling model, it's obviously going to be that thing, because we'll have more minutes spent with the kids and teaching those guidance lessons.
Okay, so is there a curriculum for that, like a character curriculum at all, or not really?
It's not a character curriculum, but it's a curriculum that Tracy Warren, our LSSP, has brought to us. And we've been using in classrooms. And it is measured, you know, per week, how often we're doing the guidance lesson. And she would have the numbers on that. So
See that there's no reason why that can't be a requirement on Fridays. We're not infringing on any requirements for anything else, and then we can work on where we can try to fit it in on Monday through Thursdays as well too. It's a lot easier at the younger grade levels to fit stuff like that in, because once you get to the older grade levels and you have certain courses where you're required to have a certain number of minutes in each course, you have maybe a small advisory period, and you can bring in speakers and so on at different points in the year, as long as you get your required minutes in. But on Fridays, it's fair game. So how would I? So I kind of want to capture the same thing, where we're going to bring these programs to students on those half-day Fridays, and also during the day, Monday through Thursday, we're available as well. How would you phrase exactly what those programs are? What would we call those programs?
well, in the counseling, the Texas counseling model, it's broken down for you in there, and you want to have a guidance curriculum, you want to have small groups. And I think, you know, if you have a healthy guidance program, you're doing it when all the students are there, so they're getting people access to it. I know that Fridays are awesome and great, but you wanna have a healthy program that is encompassing Monday through Thursday. You know, so, and I know Tracy Warren is working really closely on moving the bar. And making sure that we are increasing our time, and like I said, we're submitting time trackers and everything like that, so. You would see growth from, 3 years ago, how much guidance that students were getting to next year to this year, it's steadily increasing and going higher. So they're getting exposed to that curriculum, and so I would just try to make sure that that's happening across the board, everywhere, on every campus.
Is that already written into your current curriculum? We don't wanna like double the paper.
There wouldn't be a problem.
There's not a cost, is there, or is there a cost for that, because? Like,
The one that she has, there's no cost to that. I mean, I know of another character education program that would be really neat to get there, and I've talked with her about it too, but I mean, we talk about it here too.
but this is called the Texas guide.
But no, there's a Texas counseling model, what your counseling program should look like, where, the counselor should be 80% with the students and 20%, other students, and so that's what's being measured and looked at right now, is to move our programs to where we are that 80% of the students.
Right. Okay.
So
You have to do what to,
Certain amount of counseling hours.
for students or for?
Yeah.
That I can look into it. Certain number of counseling hours?
Yeah, we had to have a certain amount of hours in this house over with kids, instead of,
Oh,
signing up for the classes and doing other things.
well, I think the requirement is 80%, right?
yeah, it's 80, Texas counseling model said that we should be 80% of the students, and so that's being measured by our time trackers that we're submitting to our LSSP, and looking at those numbers will tell you if we're close to that mark, or if we're falling shy of that mark. It'll also tell you if we progressed over the past 3 years from where we originally. I know, like right now, since Tracy Warren has come on board, we have progressed. I was predominantly clerical in first year, and we're moving far away from that at a very fast pace.
Oh, that is
So,
And that'll allow us to get into classrooms and provide more of these services to students.
yeah, providing this.
I do want to say that I am taking to the board an MOU next Tuesday for with Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation. I always get that mixed up. Where they're going to be starting at Gillette Middle School, and they're going to be doing a 10-week program where they come in and they talk to the students. It's basically an anti-drug program that they have. So we'll see if the board approves it next Tuesday, but so we are trying to partner with outside agencies as well to provide some of those services. Any feedback on that?
Is it like a scared straight, or is it?
No, I don't think it's not like a scared straight, because I've seen the data that the scared straight doesn't really work. I've actually seen data on that actually it goes in the opposite direction. That's what I've seen data on, but no, it's not. That's hopefully going to.
Is it snooze fest?
Well,
No.
we haven't seen it in the classroom before. We're gonna have a presenter at the next board meeting for anyone who wants the woman from the Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation will be there to present this Tuesday. So that's just another opportunity that we have to partner with local organizations. Okay,
And
so
we are partnering with local organizations, like for instance, the Behavioral Health Solutions of South Texas has been coming to our campus, and they've been speaking with the 5th graders on a once per weekly basis, and that goes for about 3 months. And they educate kids about, drugs and that kind of thing, being that is, if there's fentanyl crisis and.
How is that, so, okay, so this is where I'm confused, this is about our law for consent. We have a curriculum that you're supposed to abide by to teach kids, how can outside people come in and teach or tell kids things that aren't in line, possibly with the current curriculum? That in other states around the United States, we probably get some parents of it.
And that's where.
I think it's not mandatory or required. I think the kids have to sign permission slips to partake in that. So,
Kids and the parents.
I mean, the parents, I'm sorry. Yeah, the kids have to take the permission slips and the parents have to sign.
That kind of like, cause if they're just coming in without parents knowing, what are they telling the kids versus what's being taught in the curriculum, if the curriculum is being taught at all? Do we have to set education curriculum right now?
I don't believe we do.
Yeah, so you're probably not, it's not one that's in
Right.
permission for it, so. What's being taught now would help the committee figure out what it is that we can decide what made it better, but.
So what I will do is for next meeting, I will get someone from the curriculum side to come and speak about that for sure. And as a matter of fact, that segues into, I'll work on crafting those two goals for next time, because I'm not gonna keep you very much longer today and bringing something to next meeting, but I do want to just get a little bit of input from you guys on next meeting. Again, next meeting is February the 8th, same time, same place. We talked about having a presentation on the curriculum, what is being taught currently in our schools for the health curriculum. We've also had presentations in the past of cybersecurity. Does that, for our students, is that something that you guys are interested in having a presenter for that?
What does that have to do with health?
Well, let's see if it aligns with one of the 10 components. I would think that definitely have to do with mental health, for sure, because if kids are bullied or are put in unsafe
Oh, we're not
situations.
just talking about people stealing passwords and putting.
No.
Snapchat, Cash apps, okay. Just checking.
Let's see, we can definitely have, Ms. Butler, what can we do as far as nutrition is concerned? Can we talk about?
Wellness policy has to be evaluated annually by SHAC and updated as needed.
Okay, is that something that we can bring to next meeting in February?
Absolutely.
Okay. Nutrition.
And did you need the name and third one that the counselors were using? It's called second step.
Thank you. Ms. Warren here, since we did talk about health and emotional well-being.
Good idea. Any other ideas for
Are we
next
gonna
meeting?
go more into detail on the goals at the next meeting?
We will.
Okay, and maybe some stepping stones on how to accomplish those goals, like small targets that we can set up.
Absolutely.
You need to have your officers before you can actually reach a goal. Or can you get a goal without?
Well, that's a good point. You would probably, for something big like this, we would probably want our officers to vote on goals. So hopefully,
You gotta bring this to the board, so by the time you have, I think you might wanna relook at your proposed meeting dates. Because if you have to wait till when's the next one?
February
8th.
February 8th, and if we get officers at that time, what's the next board meeting? February, there's one of the regular meeting at the end of the month. So at the end of that,
February.
okay, so the next time you come to meet is May 9th, and the school's just about ended, so there are no real goals for SHAC this year.
So really it'd be goals for next year, and really the goals for this year would be the goals that were up there from last year.
You guys can have them never heard, so.
Maybe we can move up the meeting to the end of January, so that way by the
Well-
board meeting in February.
Like come on, we're gonna have.
Holiday.
We're gonna have cupcakes.
It's fun.
Please, hey parents, bring a friend and then you can leave it a goodie bag for you and your kid. I don't know, let's go back. Just try, any way you can to try to, get
That's about
parents here.
it. Now, just because we don't officially have a goal until it's approved and the members are approved by the board, does not mean that I can't take the feedback right now and start saying, hey, you know what, we want to try to get more physical activity and more guidance programs in the schedule right now. That's something, that's why you always have a liaison for the school district. You actually have several here right now, because these are some things that I can already start working with. I hear what you're saying as far as doing things the right and proper way. And it makes it difficult when it's so hard to get parents here. And so hard to actually set up your committee the way that it's supposed to actually be. But we're gonna really work hard next time to get at least one more parent who's not an employee here. Yes.
And maybe if while on having Tracy Warren here at the next meeting, maybe she can give a short
Yeah.
speech or something on bullying awareness or something, because
that
that
will
might
help.
draw parents to the meeting as well.
Oh, good, I like that. And really promote what we're doing there. So like this time when we promoted, well, that's true, like we didn't put out there, hey, we're gonna discuss fitness grant, we're gonna
Yes.
elect officers and so on. That's a really good point, actually, maybe put what we're gonna do, yeah.
Alright, so we do have money? Does SHAC have money? Does SHAC have money for food, for gifts? Bring a friend and you get a gift, bring
We will work on trying to get some incentives to entice people to come next time.
It's just a go, yeah.
Maybe solicit donations from.
Yes.
Raffle vendors or something.
Well, we made some progress. We have a chair and we have a co-chair who are parents who are not district employees. And you guys brought a lot of good feedback. I really like now, okay, so I know that last time in the past, there were more people at these meetings. There weren't.
There was one meeting, there was a lot of people there and the superintendent was there, but
But
that
like,
was probably the biggest meeting I've ever seen.
So-
The norm.
this is the norm. I talked to CCISD and they have 11 members on their committee. Do they have guest speakers and everything as well? Yes, but they have 11 dedicated committee members, of which I obviously 6 of them have to be parents. So even in a big district, I think if you have a whole bunch of people, sometimes it's hard for everybody to provide input. But I really want for, like today, I found like people were talking and providing input, and I like that. And you can do that much more in a small meeting. We do want a few more though, especially more parents, so we need to work hard to get that way. And not only that, we want, like for presentations, we would love a lot of parents. They don't necessarily have to be voting members on the committee, but we want them to hear the information on school health, on mental health, on physical health, on things that can benefit their child. Because ultimately, wouldn't it be great if every parent in the district was here and learning at some of these things? You couldn't have a meeting like this. Like what you would have to do if you had that much parent participation is you'd have to basically have the committee meetings like this, and then you'd have, all right, here is a meeting in the dome where we're gonna present on mental health. And then, build it up and put everybody there. You'd almost have to have them separate, really.
You have to do the athletic booster club, I mean, they got a meeting, they have kids and athletes, they needed roundups and parents.
Ooh, that's a great idea.
Full of them.
What was the idea?
And band?
Athletic director, they
Get the athletic director and band director to, well, mine was band, but get the athletic director to bring in parents, because they have plenty of parents that go to booster club meetings. They should be able to come to these type of meetings too. Oh, you don't have a lot to come to booster club meetings?
It's like that one time,
Oh.
This last meeting,
Yeah.
we only had
a
2
few
people that
I
were.
didn't, I didn't know
Oh,
that,
wow.
so like 2 days after I saw on Facebook. We signed in and we provided a number, correct?
Yeah, and this last one we had, there was only 2 that were not on.
and the reason why too is because of some of us had JV games.
Yeah, it was a Thursday that they had.
I totally forgot, I didn't see your reply.
But, okay, well, hey,
Like I'll put, on my calendar 3 weeks from now, I completely forget, like I have to be reminded, like the day before, 3 days prior. So taking these.
Yes.
Will help too, because they've already been here, they know what it's all about.
And if you wouldn't mind leaving those on the table as you leave so that I can track you down. Co-chair will collect it. And thank you guys so much for coming today. I really appreciate it. And I really want to make this worthwhile. I don't want it just to be, because we have